This first hand, I put these hands in sequential order here, and this first hand comes up. It's a blind versus blind hand that comes up, and the small blind's opening into us and we hold Queen Jack offsuit. And I don't have a big read on this guy. I was starting to think that he might be kind of fishy, but I wasn't totally sure at this point. But this has always been a standard call for me.
Yeah, I mean, some people like 3-betting in this spot, but honestly, I think you're just giving up too much of a positional advantage here and just allowing him to 4-bet with a wide range. And, if we don't know a lot about the player, then getting into a 3-bet, 5-betting war is really just not going to be the best. So unless we have just an amazing read that he's going to be calling pretty much every open to a 3-bet, then calling here is just definitely the best play.
Great. Okay, and that's what I do. We go to the flop, and I do flop second pair with a jack kicker, and I do get led into with a c-bet. And to me, I don't think there's much other play other than calling here.
No, we expect him to be c-betting this board just about 100% of the time, I would imagine. So I don't really think anything's changed here.
Yep, agreed. All right, so I do call. The turn's a 5 and 5 of spades, putting a spade draw on the board. He does check. And to me, I think this would be a standard value bet here on the turn.
Yeah, I don't think there's much value in checking back here and then hoping that it'll call you down with ace high or something like that. I think you can definitely be perceived to be floating with hands and also calling with hands like ace jack, jack 10, 10 9. So there are certain hands that he can still call with. He can still call with 5x. He can still call with ace jack and ace 10. So and the worst queen x's. So definitely a good spot here.
Okay, and I do bet 850. I was bet this amount because I figured I was targeting, like you said, not a huge range of hands. Usually I think he actually is giving up. But I think I'm targeting like worse queens and fives and like those types of hands that you're saying, like maybe second or even third pair hands. So I felt that I shouldn't bet, closer to pot.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay. Unfortunately, I get check raised, and this is where I thought that the hand became a little bit more interesting. Before I ask you what you would tend to do in this spot, I just want to say that when I'm in this spot, one of the things I've always kind of through experience, I've always kind of felt like check raises, blind versus blind, were usually full of it. Basically, like most people, I just feel like a lot of times when I get check raised in blind versus blind scenarios, people are not very strong. But maybe that's not the case always. How do you feel about this spot here?
Well, we started out by saying that we don't know exactly what he's doing, but he's feeling a little fishy. With that read, I think you can sort of throw out your more conventional ideas that this is more of a bluff. I think when you believe that he is a weaker player, then him having king X here, or even a weird hand such as aces or ace queen, become much more likely than they would in other situations. The other problem that I find myself doing, and I talk to my students about this all the time, is that when we're faced with this situation, we want to call because it's pretty fishy, right? But what are our plans on the river? Well, we're definitely going to fold any spades because,
yeah,
I think spade draws are sort of likely. We're definitely going to fold any ace. And to be honest with you, I think most people would probably be folding just about to any bet that's bigger than just about half pot. So with the plan of having calling and then hoping he shuts down is pretty weak. And I also don't think that we have enough information to think that he's just going to be pulling a complete bluff here if he check raises and then bombs river. I think there'll be enough in there actually for him to shove.
Yeah, I think there would be.
Or it might be just a little less. So he can reasonably shove river, and then we're really left with a guessing game. So I like a fold more than anything else here.
Yeah, and the only thing that normally I would fold in a spot like this, the thing that kind of drove me to a call was what I was telling you before, that I usually, when I see this from most people, it's like I just don't want to give it any credit because it's, ranges, as you know, ranges are usually so wide here. My plan was to call and to not fold unless a spade or maybe an ace or something came off on the river. That was my plan. I did call, and maybe folding was best at this point, but that was one of the cards that I was not happy to see. I did face a shove, and I did fold. But maybe folding on the turn is best.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I mean, I think it does consist of a few bluffs, but the bluffs that it does consist of, I think, are like Jack 10 of spades, Ace Jack of spades, Ace 10 of spades.
Agreed.
And I think he can also have a massive hand here. I don't think we're beyond him having a massive hand.
Yeah, he could show up with like King Queen or something.
Yeah, so I would learn a little bit more about the player before I would be making the call on the turn.
Okay.
And I just envision us calling turn and then folding so many rivers too that I like just folding the turn.
Yeah. Okay. Great.